Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 26, overall 356 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Gulf Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call, 519-824-0210. Tell them that Chris Palme sent you. And also you can email the dealership at info@barrycullen.com. As always, Live with CDP Sports Talk is on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, the home of Southern Talk and Sports. I hope everyone's doing well on this Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Temperature right now here in Guelph, where I live, is about minus 20 with the wind chill right now. So it's a little bit chilly out. And this is my second show of the day. And I want to say thank you to my first guest today, Dr. Manal Agrawal, an optometrist, aka eye doctor in the Toronto area, for coming on. And I look forward to my second guest tonight. It's her second appearance on Live with CDP Sports Talk. I've been friends with her for about a year now from LinkedIn, and her name is Courtney Mendenhall, and she's with Focus Point Mental Health. She's a coach, trainer, and she's also a podcast host and a fan of those Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to bring Courtney Mendenhall on right now. Good evening,
Hey,
Courtney.
Chris.
How are you doing? How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
And how are things going in Virginia right now?
Well, it's cold here. We had a 2-hour, schools were closed here today for the city and the county. And the county's going 2 hours late tomorrow, and then the cities are closed. So it's a lot of stuff is freezing over from the last couple of days. So it's a cold one here.
I don't mind the cold temps or the snow. I don't like the ice part, like walking on ice or driving on ice. So do you guys have any snow down there right now?
We did have snow in some parts of Virginia. I know an hour north from where I used to live in Lynchburg, they got some snow, and mostly the mountains in that part of Virginia. So down here we just got sleet and a little bit of freezing rain, but other than that, it's just slick roads and it's really cold out there.
Yeah, we had a late winter this year. We had a mild winter until maybe 2 weeks ago. So we have a couple of inches of snow here. But Buffalo, New York, got buried with I think 2 or 3 feet of snow this week. If you saw the Bills Steelers game, you saw the fans were sitting in snow. They couldn't even get the snow out of the seats there at the stadium there.
Yeah, it was a lot of snow, and I'm glad that they cleared the field off the way they did. I think they did a great job. But however, the snow was still in the stands, like you said. And I know, like, every time the Bills scored a touchdown, the fans were like throwing the snow up in the air as they celebrated. And I'm just like, oh, rub it in. But we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, I was worried that they would throw it on the field or the players and stuff like that. But I don't think there was too many issues with that yesterday.
Once again, it's a disappointment, but, it is what it is.
Well, that leads to my first question. I got to ask you this, Courtney. Thoughts on the 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers and their season-ending loss 31-17 to the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I'll say this. We have a young team, and we had a young quarterback. We still have him, but we have to rebuild. And I was telling my dad this yesterday when I was watching the game with him that a couple of years ago, they extended Ben Roethlisberger's contract, and they were giving him the extension, and then they weren't preparing for when he was about to leave. So that leads to my next thought. You can't just build a team around one person. You definitely have to have your weapons on offense and defense. And as far as the 2023 Steelers, I think that we got lucky a couple of times. Sometimes we actually came out to play, but it was a tight race in the AFC North. I think every team in that division had a winning record, and had the Bengals and the Browns had their starting quarterbacks, we probably wouldn't have made it to the wild card round. That was my prediction. Um, but as far as the performance last night, I was disappointed how they came out and started, but they did towards the end kind of fight a little bit. But you just have to be prepared for anything at any given time. We have Kenny Pickett, who just got drafted not too long ago, and Mason Rudolph and Trubisky. So I'm actually proud of the way Mason Rudolph stepped up to be the starting quarterback.
Long term, do you think Kenny Pickett can be the number one quarterback, or even Mason Randolph? Because it does, having a franchise quarterback does help, and you do have to surround them with the right pieces. Do you think if they have the right pieces around them, they can be good quarterbacks, or do you feel that the Steelers might need to look at drafting or acquiring a quarterback in free agency?
I think we need to have a quarterback that's going to be able to deal with the pressure of being the starting quarterback. And I think Kenny Pickett can do that as he goes along in his career. But as of right now, I think that he should take some notes maybe from the veterans. And I'm not saying it like he can't do it at all, but we do need someone, whether we get them in a trade or in the draft, we do need someone in case he has to come out again. Because that's what happened with TJ Watt. We didn't have him yesterday, and that really hurt us as well. It was just a mess in some ways, and we got so many penalties. The penalties were really killing us.
And the turnovers too. That you had the one in the red zone that was intercepted by Elam, and then you had, I think, another fumble, and there could have
Yeah.
been a third fumble. And like I said, when you turn the ball over, most times in the regular season, sometimes you can get away with it and win, but in playoffs, any playoff game, you turn the ball over two, three times or whatever, you're not going to win. And that one interception in the end zone, that cost them 3 to 7 points right there. And then Buffalo scored a touchdown off of that. I believe the Bills scored 14 points off those two turnovers.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
And that
you
was
have to come out swinging. It's tough to watch them like that because when I first became a Steelers fan when I was 13, we had Troy Polamalu, Hines Ward, all of those guys, and we just had that old school defense and that grit. But now we have to groom some younger players to step up to the plate. So I don't know if you were going to mention this, but did you see the thing about Coach Tomlin walking off from his post game interview?
and that leads to my next question, Courtney. A great segment into my next question. Do you feel Mike Tomlin will be back next season with the Steelers and overall the job that he did? And what did you think about him walking out of the press conference from that question, which I don't think was unreasonable?
I knew he wasn't going anywhere. And when I was just sitting here preparing to come on the show tonight, I got a notification saying that he was returning. And, I didn't really think that that was the appropriate question for that time because I
They just
think
lost a
that,
game. They just lost a playoff game, and everybody is emotional. So I see your point there.
yeah. And the thing is, I think as a reporter, as a person that has the background of journalism, I would ask the reporter should ask the coach of the team's future, not the coach's future, because if the coach is like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come back next year," and then he doesn't come back, it's just gonna create that friction. So it's best to ask about the team's future. Like you asked me about Kenny Pickett being the starter, and then when TJ Watt comes back next year, like how are they gonna regroup?
And also, too, the Pittsburgh Steelers, since their inception, I believe, have only had three head coaches: Chuck Noll, Bill
Hmm.
Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. And this might not have been the greatest Steelers team, but he still got them in at 9-8 and into the playoffs. And he has won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh. So I think Tomlin's still a very good coach. I think some people, Courtney, are comparing him to Andy Reid when he left Philadelphia, because Andy
Yeah.
Reid was a great coach in Philadelphia with my Birds for 14 years, but they're saying maybe Tomlin needs a change. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, that maybe he needs to get out of Pittsburgh in a new situation after being there for so many years.
I don't think he needs to get out of Pittsburgh. I think Coach Tomlin is a great coach. However, there have been players over the years saying that they felt like there needed to be more discipline in the locker room, and I agree with that. I read something yesterday that said Coach Tomlin literally had to take ping pong tables out of the locker room so they could concentrate. So when you have a coach, you want a coach that can be a friend, but they're not your friend at the same time. Like, you have to have that discipline, and you have to be able to motivate your team to play, and you have to hold them accountable. Coach Tomlin, like I said, is great, and I love his philosophy. I love his style, and I think he's very poised, because I was telling my dad, I'm like, you know what? He's too poised right now, because I would be pulling my hair out. I really would, but I respect him a lot, and he's also from Virginia too. So,
If you were the Steelers general manager, Courtney, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If there was one area this team needs improvement on next year, what area would you address, and what would you look for in the 2024 NFL draft?
oh, that's a tough one. Let's see. I think we need some more disciplined defensive backs. We need to solidify this quarterback situation as well. I think we have the offensive weapons like Deontay Johnson and the other guy, and I think that they will be fine once they get in a rhythm and they understand that they have to perform. A lot of these guys have been backups to the first string for so long, and they have to see that it's their time now. So the steel curtain days are gone. We still have to find players that will step up and fill those shoes.
What's your thoughts on the running back Harris? I think he's a franchise type running back.
I think he is too. He's a very patient running back. He will try to find a hole, but the thing I noticed that was different about him and our other running back was Najee needs the offensive line to create the hole for him, because he's patient. So he's gonna wait. He can wait until he actually finds that hole. But the other one, he was just like going straight through the line, and just he was running better than Najee last night, I personally think. But Najee, not to take anything away from him, he's awesome too. Um, since the Jerome Bettis days, I would say that we have had good running backs, but they've been hurt a lot. And, we had Willie Parker, Rashard Mendenhall, who is of no relation to me. He was a pretty good running back himself, but he just stayed hurt a lot. So that was unfortunate. But Najee Harris has the potential to be a Hall of Famer. I really believe it.
We'll see. The NFL games are this weekend. What just quick thoughts on the matchups? I believe Houston at Baltimore, and then
Mhm.
Green Bay at San Francisco on Saturday night. Just quick thoughts.
Okay, well, I have to say shout out to CJ Stroud, and I know you said the AFC, but shout out to Jordan Love too.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
those are young quarterbacks, young guys that don't have much
rookies.
experience in this. Yeah, that don't have the experience against these veterans in playoff situations. And the thing I think about the AFC is this: if you take the AFC North and you look at like who was pretty much dominant in that division for so long, which was the Ravens and the Steelers. I believe that the Bengals and the Browns probably would have had a longer run had their quarterbacks not been hurt. Baltimore is a team, and this is what my dad said, and I agree. Baltimore is a team that if they have little, they can work with it and still play and win. They've proven that time for time, and it's like there is no first, second, or third string. Like, everybody is just ready to go. And Lamar Jackson is amazing. So, I wish him the best as well. It would be nice to have a quarterback that's as fast as Lamar Jackson, but that's not going to happen with us probably. But as far as the Texans, you said the Texans are the Lions.
Texans at Ravens, and then the Saturday night game is the Packers and the Niners.
Hmm.
Obviously the Niners and the Ravens are going to be heavy favorites, but as you can see in the playoffs, Courtney, home field advantage doesn't always
Yeah,
mean success, and being underdogs doesn't mean anything as well. And DeMarco Ryans has done a great job as a head coach with the Houston Texans as well.
definitely. And the thing about the Packers, I feel that their fan base was kind of, I won't say shook, but when they lost Aaron Rodgers, it was like the end of a dynasty. And the fact that Jordan Love is there now and he can step up and be that pillar of strength, I think that's really good. And he's young, so he's going to be there for a while. And the 49ers, I don't really have much analysis on them, but I will say they come out ready to play as well, as I've seen this year. And as far as the Lions game goes, I'm just surprised to see the Lions doing what they're doing. That's the main
Really,
thing.
really.
Yeah, because
Dan,
they've never won a Super Bowl and they haven't been
no.
to the playoffs in God knows how long.
Well, Dan Campbell turned the team around last year.
Yeah,
They did make the playoffs at 9-8, but he got them to believe in each other. And
yeah.
Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have done a great job. They've drafted well. Jarrett Goff for Stafford. It was a great trade for both teams. The Rams got a Super Bowl out of Stafford. Jarrett Goff is a very very good quarterback, and Detroit is like a great football city. It's like Pittsburgh,
Hmm.
except it's been through bad football for many 4 decades. So the Lions Bucks game, I think, is going to be a very good game. Don't count out the Buccaneers and
I'm
Baker
not.
Mayfield.
No.
Baker Mayfield is still can still play, so that's going to be a hell of a game as well. And then the Sunday night game at 6:30 is going to be rematch number 3 between the Chiefs and Bills, but this time in Orchard Park, New York, and not in Kansas City. So just quick thoughts on that.
Definitely can't count the Bucks out. Baker Mayfield was a quarterback in the AFC North before, and when we got him, I was like, "Oh God, now we have to go against Baker Mayfield." That guy, I won't say, how can I describe him? He's a good quarterback, and he's one of those quarterbacks that I won't say people sleep on him, but you just can't take him lightly. Um, and as far as like the game in Orchard Park, I think that'll be a good matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills. And the thing about the Chiefs, and from last night's game with the Eagles and everything like that, they don't look the same as they did last year, but they're still pressing forward. So the Bills, Josh Allen looked great last night. I mean, he ran 52 yards on a play for a touchdown against our defensive backs. He outran the defensive backs and he wasn't even running that fast. He's a big stocky guy and he's smart. Like if you can't contain Josh Allen, then that's going to be an issue. Like we just can't allow that. But I think that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to really look out for. They're going to have to put pressure on Josh Allen.
Yeah, the Chiefs do have a very good defense. I believe they're number 2 under Steve Spagnuolo. But I think this Buffalo team, obviously, they're banged up on the defensive side of the ball. So I really think it's going to come down to, can Josh Allen and that Bills offense score enough points to beat Kansas City? And I really think this game is going to be high scoring, because I do think Josh Allen is playing at a high level. And they also have this running back, James Cook, the brother of the other Cook who played for the Vikings. He's an outstanding running back, and they have Shaquille Diggs and Dalton Kincaid. So I really think it's going to be up to Buffalo's offense to win this game at home, because their defense is really banged up. And as for the Chiefs, their offense is not as good as Buffalo's this year, but their Chiefs defense is real solid. I think which team has the ball last, Courtney, in this game between Kansas City and Buffalo, between Mahomes and Allen, is going to win this game. And I wouldn't be shocked if it went to overtime again.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a close one, too. Definitely, at least by a touchdown or a field goal. It's going to be a high scoring game.
Do you see the Packers having any chance of upsetting the Niners on Saturday night?
At this point, Chris, I don't really know because anything can happen. I think if Jordan Love goes out there with his head high and they're not intimidated, then they will have a chance. But, I expected us to win. There was something in me that expected us to win last night and we didn't, but you know how that goes. I think that'll be a great game too, honestly.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to all of these games. The 3 most disappointed teams in these playoffs I know that putting the Steelers in that category, or my Philadelphia Eagles, who fell
Oh,
apart the last 7 weeks. They fell apart. The Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins, and I see some coaching moves and some roster moves on all three of those teams.
oh yeah. I've been following a friend of mine who writes for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He covers the Eagles, and he's been talking about, how does Jalen Hurts feel as far as his injury went, and can the backup quarterback fill those shoes when it comes time for him to play if Jalen Hurts' finger is not okay. And then the Cowboys, that was just, I thought it was funny because I don't like the Cowboys, but how they lost is what would have made me mad if I was a fan. Um, they won 18 games in a row at home. They come to Arlington, had home field advantage, and they were the better team on paper, but they
That's why
didn't win. So it's a first round curse that the Cowboys have. I can't really say much about the Cowboys with the NFC East. That whole division is just kind of weird sometimes because honestly, the Giants owned the Cowboys at one point. And the
I,
Giants, they just always have bad luck. And, Washington is Washington, but the Eagles, I expected a little bit more from them.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is my personal opinion. I thought the players basically quit. I'm going to say
Mhm.
this word. I thought they quit on the coaching staff and management and the fan base after that San Francisco game, because the San Francisco 49ers are a great football club, but when they got pounded, I think 49-16 at home, that to me was the turning point, and they never recovered from it. And how do you go from 10-1 to a Super Bowl contending team for a second straight year to a team that lost 5 out of the last 6, and then Tampa Bay dominated them last night too, 32-9. So there's going to be some changes in Philadelphia, whether it's coaching or the roster. The Eagles right now are a broken team, and the Miami Dolphins, terrific first half, but the second half they struggled. And anytime they played good teams, they couldn't beat them, other than the Dallas Cowboys. And as for Dallas, where do you go from here with the Dallas Cowboys? Prescott's been their quarterback for 8 years. I
Right.
don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl with him now after 8 years. I'm not blaming Dax for this whole loss against Green Bay, but throwing 2 pick sixes early in that game, falling behind 27-0, most times you're not coming back from that deficit. So the Dallas Cowboys and that have big decisions to make, but I cannot see Bill Belichick going to Dallas because Bill Belichick wants full control. And as long as Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys, he's going to want yes men. And I believe McCarthy will be back. So, you know what? It's good for the NFL and for all the fan bases to see the Dallas Cowboys lose.
I love it. I just, I think you're right about the whole Belichick and Jerry Jones situation because Jerry Jones is the face, and they expressed how upset he was over them losing the other day, and it wasn't surprising because I'll tell you something. Now, I was on Facebook and I saw people saying, "Oh, we need to get rid of Jerry Jones. We need to do something with this player. We need to do something with that player." Now, when the Cowboys, when they're at home and they score, what's the first thing that they do? They put the camera in the box so they can see Jerry Jones. They love
Yep.
that guy, but then when they don't perform well, they blame him. So he's an older guy, so he's really going to have to take it easy because he's going to stress himself out. I hate to say it, but Dallas is just the way they are. They get complacent.
Absolutely. And did you see the NFL on Fox halftime show with Jimmy Johnson, the former Cowboy coach? To me, Jimmy Johnson felt like he wanted to come out of retirement and coach that team because I think he showed more emotion than Mike McCarthy. And hey, the team follows their coach, and to me, I really think McCarthy should lose his job, but I have a feeling Jones will give him another chance, and they're going to have the same result next year at this time if they keep the same coaching staff and keep Prescott. I really think Dex Prescott is a good quarterback, but I think he needs to get out of Dallas. Dallas is a hard place to win because of Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, the history of that team, even though they've won 5 Super Bowls. It's just a lot of pressure on him. And I think maybe it's time for Prescott to move to another team and the Cowboys to maybe look at somebody else and see if they can win, like Trey Lance, who they got from the Niners.
Yeah, we actually play Dallas next year, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I can't remember whether if it's at home or away, but we do have Dallas on the schedule for next year, and that's an old rivalry. We played 3 Super Bowls against them, and we won 2, and they tried to say we cheated, but we were just better than them. But
Ab-
that's another story. That's another
Absolutely.
story.
Absolutely. Hey, Courtney, we'll get into some questions. And first, I wanted to ask you. I know the last time I talked to you, you were at a newspaper called the Gazette down in Danville, Virginia. Can you just tell us about your role with Focus Point Mental Health and how did you come about this role?
Well, I actually started studying psychology my last year of my undergraduate years at Radford, and I took a psychology class, and I really liked it. And I took sociology classes, of course, and then when the opportunity came for me to get a license to be a QMHP, I just have become so passionate about mental health. I think that is very important, not just for athletes, but for the general population to understand how to deal with issues and how to deal with them the right way. And I came upon the role because I was living in Lynchburg, which is an hour from Danville, and they just posted a job. And she said, well, we have mental health skill building, intensive in home for children, and we have mentoring services. So, which one do you want to do? So I did mental health skill building while I was living in Lynchburg before I moved back to Danville. And when I got to Danville, I was mentoring in the elementary school. So I'll be in, I'll be mentoring in the elementary school again this school year. And I just love being able to help people get through their issues and just be a person that they can have that will listen to them and understand where they're coming from.
Absolutely, and I think the pandemic, the 2-year pandemic around the world, I think that increased mental health issues as well. And I don't know about the states, but I know in Canada they've cut a lot of programs, and we're seeing more and more homeless people and more people with mental health issues out there now than ever before, in my opinion.
I agree. And the thing is, it's a lot more stressful now because prices of things have gone up. Um, People have lost their jobs, and things are kind of weird right now in the world. So some people just don't know how to cope with those type of life stressors. Some people do better than others. I mean, anyone would be stressed out about losing a job, but it's all about how they handle it. And with the mental health skill building that we do at Focus Point and other behavioral care centers, um, they always tell me to make sure that when I'm typing my notes that I'm being descriptive and telling a story. So it's the same thing that the person that I'm working with, they have to be descriptive and tell me a story too. And some of the things I hear, which I won't disclose on air, I'm just like, man, you're stronger than what you think you are because you made it through that. And it's just good to see them improve over time and open up and enjoy life more than what they did when I first met them. And that's just what I love to do.
How satisfying is it knowing that you're being a part of helping people?
It's very satisfying. I grew up that way my entire life, and I can count on more. Well, I only have 2 hands, but I can count several times on my hands how many people I saw in my family that have done other things for people, and it's just something that was instilled in me. And I think that even if I hadn't seen it around me, I think I still would have done it anyway because if I see a need for something, I'm always the first person to ask a question. And I ask a lot of questions, but however, it's because I care. That's where my curiosity comes from. That's where my knowledge is spread. So, um, my parents instilled that in me to reach back and help those, just like someone helped me when I was younger. And that's what I enjoy doing.
I can see how passionate and compassionate you are as well. And I wanted to ask you this too, Courtney. What's an average day like at Focus Point Mental Health for you?
Well, during mental health skill building cases, I would basically have to make sure, check off the list of it, did my client take their medicine? Did they do a task for the day? What tasks do they want to do tomorrow? What plans they have for the next week? Setting up appointments, teaching them how to handle business in the community. And with as far as kids go, I do a lot more fun exercises with kids, and I talk to them, and we play like Uno or something, and bring them candy and all those other things, and they really enjoy that. And just let them talk about stuff out that's outside of school, because you don't want to bore them too much with school information, but you want them to know that they need to stay on their grades. But asking them about their interests, like, oh, did you watch the game last night, or what are you going to do for vacation this summer? And they really enjoy that, and they start to open up once you ask them those questions.
What's the age group like on average, and how many people ideally, or how many people do you work with on a daily basis? On a daily basis.
When I first started working for Focus Point, I was working with two ladies, and they were both middle-aged women. One was in their 40s, the other one was in her 50s. And at the time, I was like 27, so it was kind of weird to me in a way, but it just showed me that I could do it. I worked with a kid that was 8 or 9 years old this past spring, and I was working with fourth and fifth grade students last school year. So this school year, working with fourth and fifth grade students again, and I'm just going to stick with the mentoring part right now, because that's going to go better with my schedule since I'm getting back into coaching now.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know a little bit about that. Is there a website that people can check out, Courtney?
Not really. I mean, I have my podcast website, but
Okay.
I have Instagram, Twitter, well, X, Twitter, and
Okay.
Facebook. Snapchat is limited, I guess, to people, but I don't really have a website of myself, which I'm working on a lot of my branding and marketing right now. So we'll get that together.
Okay, definitely. Thank you for sharing that about the Focus Point Mental Health Group as well. And that's in Danville, Virginia, too, or just in another city?
They have offices in different places in
Places.
Virginia. So they have it Danville, which is my hometown and where I live now. They have it in Lynchburg, and they have it in Richmond.
And I have a viewer. Her name's Brittany. Interesting program and feels emotional and focus. Thank you, Brittany, for watching and for her comment.
Thanks, Brittany.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm trying to get my viewers more involved with my show as well. And like I said, do you ever have days where it is emotional for you at the end of the day?
uh, I think more than I feel, if that makes sense. I am emotional and probably don't realize it, but I'm constantly thinking about things. So my thoughts are always going, whether it's day or night. I think that what I do is a lot of introspection and reflection of what I did that day, and then I'm thinking about what I need to do tomorrow, and I'm thinking about how I should handle situations going forward, and I'm just always reflecting back on my performance so I can make sure that I improve over time.
Okay. Before we wrap up this segment, are you okay for a few more questions, a few more minutes?
Of course.
Okay, no problem, Courtney. I always love talking to my guests. But for someone that's watching this live stream right now, or audio, or on my radio station in Georgia, and they're having a tough time right now with their mental health, what advice would you say to them for right now?
I would have to say take it one day at a time and understand that you can't do everything at once. That's what I'm learning about myself right now. As a person that has a lot of skills and abilities, I always try to do a lot, feeling like I have to do a lot, but sometimes less is more. And you have to take care of yourself, your mental, your body, your emotional state, your spirit. You have to take care of all of that. So don't try to take on too much, and don't be afraid to say no. If it's something that you're not comfortable with, you have to be okay to say no, I'm not going to do that, or no, that doesn't fit for me. And don't worry about disappointing anyone, because the right people will always be there.
Absolutely. And I've done this in the past too, and I'm going to admit this on here. I've seen a therapist as well, and it really helped to have somebody outside of my circle to talk to, and it really does help when you have somebody to talk to as well.
It does. And, as a person that grew up getting in trouble for talking too much on their progress reports in school,
Me.
I found I really find that my gift of speech is helping other people. So that's all I want to do. I want to be able to give other people feedback that they need. And like you said, being able to talk to someone that's not going to give you biased information is helpful because it helps you put things into a perspective where you're like,
Perspective.
okay, I need to make this make sense.
Yeah, and also talking's huge, but also listening skills as well. Because sometimes people just need to rant or vent, and someone just paying attention to somebody and actually listening to them as well is just as important as the talking part too.
I agree, Chris. I agree.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Courtney. And we're going to get to our next question. Can you just tell us a little bit about your schooling right now in sports administration at St. Thomas University and how that's going?
It's going great. It's a wonderful program and it's a great school. Next year, I'll be graduating and I start my dissertation in August of this year. Currently, I'm taking sports psychology and I'm taking strategic marketing management. And then for the second half of this spring semester, I'll have sports marketing. And I think I'll have like one or two classes over the summer. And then, as I mentioned before, my dissertation starts in August. So it's going great and it feels like I belong in this program because my love from sports goes back to the time I was a little girl and I've just consumed so much information over the years and I've noticed trends and I've kept up with the history of sports and I followed so many athletes and journalists and it just all comes together. So it worked out for the best and I have to say that I have a supportive system at that school. My academic advisor, he's very encouraging. He tells me, I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work. And as far as schooling goes, I have people already calling me Dr. Mendenhall, and I'm like, no, not yet. But it's nice to hear it, and it's not only just for how it sounds, but um, I think it's one of my purposes. So I don't take it very lightly at all, and I try to make sure I do my best.
You know what I love about this show is I've met so many wonderful people here, and the storytelling aspect. And my road, we both love our sports, and maybe I'm a little bit older than you by a few years, but we're both passionate about sports. And the thing is, my road's a little bit different from yours, but our paths are still the same. We're just taking a different road, and you know what? It's just great being able to have this platform to learn from my guests and hear their stories as well.
Well, I'm glad we connected, Chris, and I thank you so much for having me on here again. And I hope I didn't share too much about everything and ramble on, but I'm just very passionate about what I do, and I just hope that it can inspire someone to keep going no matter how hard things get for them.
Absolutely, and I've had my days too, and your mindset is your most powerful tool, especially if you're looking to
Indeed.
get into a new career. It's huge. You have to believe in yourself because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will believe in you.
Yeah, definitely have to look out for numero uno one. You have to look out for that
Absolutely.
first.
Absolutely. And just a couple quick questions and we'll wrap this up, Courtney. Are you still active in coaching and training with softball and being a certified personal trainer?
Yes, I'm actually doing both, but I'm trying to work out a schedule. I actually just received an offer to coach at a high school in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'll be the assistant varsity coach and the JV head coach. I decided to go coach down there and practice. I have to go to practice next Tuesday, so gonna see what it's like being in that district. I grew up in Virginia, so we didn't play schools in North Carolina, of course. I think it's gonna be interesting. As far as personal training goes, I do have a client, and she's a old friend of mine from our childhood days, and I'm actually working out in the gym myself too. So I'm trying to finish getting my certifications. I actually completed my nutrition certification today, and the next one I have until like May 9th or something to finish the strength and conditioning certification. So I'm focusing on just being healthy in general and encouraging others to get off the couch, which I need to do the same thing. I'm not saying it like I'm
Me,
not
me,
always,
me,
yeah,
me.
like I have to do it, and I have to say what I mean what I say. So I'm working out, drinking water, eating my protein, encouraging people that follow me to do the same, to be healthy, because a lot of these things out here um, can be cured with natural remedies. I don't really like to throw medication into everything, but it does help with some things, but I prefer the natural way.
Yeah, my doctor kind of got on me because I admit I put on some weight after Christmas. So he
Uh-oh.
just and I do a lot of I do a lot of radio and podcast shows, media work, sitting down. So he told me just to get up 30 minutes a day and walk for 30 minutes a day and drink more water, get more protein in you, and
Hmm.
give up the sweets, the salt and sugar as well. If I live closer to you, I probably would hire you as a personal trainer because my next goal besides getting into radio is I want to lose some weight, not for somebody else, but for myself, because your body is like a car. Eventually, if you neglect your body, you're gonna pay for it, just like with a vehicle.
Yeah, and I've put on some pounds since I've gotten out of school too, but you know, it's something that I've become passionate about because my body has changed over the years, and I have health issues on both sides of my families that it's like, okay, well, Courtney, you need to watch this now before this happens, or something like that. So I just want to be proactive and help other people, And there, Chris, there's alternatives to the things that you do like to eat that are still satisfying that you can eat that will help you. For example, um, I had this kick where I just wanted to drink soda, and Coca-Cola has the most sugar in it, and I just never knew why. Like, I never drank sodas. So now what I do, I got a tall cup for Christmas, and what I do is I slice up cucumbers and lemons, put those in the cup, and I fill it up. And the cup itself is like this tall, so it's 4 cups in one. So I just drink 2 of those every day, and then I drink more water later. But it's a natural detox. So I don't know if you want to try that or not. The cucumber is good for hydration, and the lemon is good for weight loss and vitamin C. So if you want to try that, feel free.
Okay, send me a message after either tonight or tomorrow this week because I'm willing to try some new things. And yeah, I just want to have a little bit of a healthier lifestyle as well, and I got to stop making excuses and do it.
Well, I believe you can do it. You've proven that you're very determined. So I think all you have to do is just get it in your mind that you can do it and that you deserve to have the outcomes of it. You can definitely be successful with it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And last question I wanted to ask you, Courtney, what's one fun fact about yourself, and where can my audience follow you again on social media? And when is your next episode going to be available on your audio platforms? And maybe just talk to us a little bit about your new radio show.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram, Courtney Janae. Find me on X, which was formerly known as Twitter, Courtney Janae. I think it's an underscore after it. Facebook, I'm Courtney J. Mendenhall. Um, and I think that's about it for my socials. As far as my audio and media stuff goes, my podcast, I'm recording episodes for season 3 right now. So those episodes are going to be released this spring. And I think I have about 20 more episodes in the vault to go for this upcoming year. So be on the lookout for that. And I just recently started co-hosting a radio show with Michael Lewis. Shout out to Michael. I found him on LinkedIn too. And we hosted the first show this past Sunday, and we're hosting another show next Sunday. So it'll be every Sunday at like 2 o'clock Eastern time. So it's called the Sports Zone, and Michael, he is a very charismatic, knowledgeable guy. So I had a lot of fun with him on there, and I'm looking forward to it again.
Can you send me a link to your show, and I'll be happy to listen to it, and promote it on my social media pages as well.
Of course, I appreciate that.
Congratulations on that. And what's one quick fun fact about you before we wrap this up?
uh, Aside from sports, I'm a huge music lover too. So um, I played the violin from 6th to 12th grade.
Wow.
I wanted to be in band, and my mom was like, Courtney, maybe you should try orchestra and see how that goes. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And I got in it and loved it. And my favorite thing about being in orchestra was just, it was calming. It kept my mind sharp and it relaxed me. And I love the Christmas concerts. They were my favorites.
As for me, I have no musical talents, especially singing. And a fun fact about me, Courtney, is I didn't talk in my first 4 years of my life. And when I was in school, I hated public speaking. I hated being in front of a camera, and I was very shy. And now look at me at 50, almost 52. And it's like, yeah, I've kind of reinvented myself over the years, over the decades.
Anything is possible, but that's a blessing to say that you are talking now and you can share your insight with the world. So you keep doing great things, Chris, and I definitely won't be a stranger.
Okay. I apologize for keeping you over 30 minutes, but I thought we were having a great conversation, and I was glad to have you back on my show again for a second time.
Yeah, I had a great time, and if you ever want me to come back again, I'm more than willing to. And you keep up the great work and stay determined, stay focused, and you got this. You can do this.
Well, thank you so much, Courtney. I appreciate your friendship, support, and yeah, and I'm looking forward to listening to your first show, the Sports Zone show. What was his name again? I'm sorry, I misplaced his name.
Michael Lewis.
Michael Lewis. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Michael Lewis. I'm so happy for you, and I know you'll do great success. And we'll definitely keep in touch, Courtney. And I will send you an audio, video, and a real copy of this episode later tonight as well. I'm a night owl, so I'll probably be up until like 1, 2 in the morning. But this is a passion for me. It's not really work. I just love it. And again, Courtney, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
You're welcome, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You too. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon, Courtney.
All right, take care.
You too. That was Courtney Mendenhall. She is with Focus Point Mental Health in Danville, Virginia. She's also a coach, a certified trainer, and she's also the podcast of the Dream, I think, what is it called? The Dream Mate Room podcast, and now the Sports Zone with Michael Lewis. And we're definitely going to have to check out her new show with Michael Lewis. And it was great to talk to Courtney today about her Pittsburgh Steelers, the National Football League. And please follow her on social media. Again, Courtney is on Facebook and Instagram. I've got her social media handle down below. And before we go, we're going to show some highlights of the Bills Steelers playoff game, courtesy of the National Football League and courtesy of the Buffalo Bills YouTube channel. Again, Buffalo won this game yesterday, but I wanted to show some highlights here. And this is, again, courtesy of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League channel.
Josh steps up, and he's going to get the first down. Oh, and there he goes. No one's going to get him. Incredible, breaks it for the touchdown. 52 yards. Unbelievable. Josh Allen up with his legs, and none bigger than this one right here. 52 yards, and he shows the extra burst. Unbelievable. Second and 9. Across the middle, Sherfield was knocked out. Shakir knocked down inside the 10. Oh, what an effort! The play of the night. Khalil Shakir broke away from, of all people, Mika Fitzpatrick. I can't believe it. This is remarkable. This really is. And this is what happens when you run the ball. And then after he was able to get away from Fitzpatrick, just look how close the knee was. Never did touch. And he's got juice. Second fastest 40 time. Doesn't show it a ton, but he's been playing outstanding. And this doesn't continue without Cook finishing on the play before. Pass complete. It's Hardy, who returned the punt last week, and now he's got a ball all the way down to the 32-yard line. They're rushing as well as anyone in the National Football League. Here he is on first down, going down the middle. He's got Kincaid. The rookie hauls it in. First down. Back to Cook. Big opening for Cook. And he's able to make it all the way down to about the 12-yard line. Running behind Mitch Morris, their center. 10th play for the Bills. Just inside the 10. To the end zone. It's caught. It's Knox. Dawson Knox with a touchdown catch.
Watch the corner and the safety up top. Neither one of them takes Knox going on the outside.
Only the Bengals at 9-8 didn't make it. Here's a 1st and 10. And a completion to Pickens. The ball came out because he was on the way down. Question is, was he down? Now they're saying incomplete pass. It needed to confirm that he had made a football move and it was a catch. So here's Buffalo from the 29. Right down the middle, they go for it. They got it! With Kincaid this time, the recipient of the Josh Allen touchdown.
I want you to watch Kincaid right here. Josh Allen looked left. The safeties are wide, and he's going to run right through it, and Josh throws a frozen rope.
Standing up and on this play, ready to rush the quarterback. There's Rudolph's throw, and it's incomplete.
Eat the clock and go down and do something here.
Fake to Harris from the goal line up top. Good throw. It's Freiermuth. And Pittsburgh has the ball came out at the end. Inspector may have been in bounds when he covered it out.
And this is the drive to do it.
On 1st down. Oh, what a tackle.
All right, guys, that was courtesy of the National Football League and the Buffalo Bills YouTube channel. And again, the Bills won that game 31-17 over the Steelers. So now it's the Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Part 3 this Sunday night, January 21st, 6:30 kickoff on CBS with Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson. Chiefs are 6-2 on the road this year, and they have the number 2 defense in the National Football League. The Chiefs offense hasn't been as good this year as it has been in the past, but Kansas City has 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. They've beaten the Buffalo Bills twice recently in the playoffs, in the 2020 AFC Championship game, 38-20. And then 2 years ago in the divisional game, Kansas City rallied in 13-second game to win 42-36 over the Buffalo Bills in overtime. I like the Bills' chances with the way Josh Allen and that offense is playing, but the Buffalo Bills on the defensive side are quite banged up. They're without their best cornerback, out with their best linebacker. Von Miller has been a non-impact for this team. I really think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game at home against Kansas City. They're going to have to outscore Kansas City. I think Josh Allen and that Bills offense has got to score at least, I would say, over 24 points to beat the Chiefs. Kansas City, obviously, you got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rashad Rice, who's a nice receiver for the Chiefs, and Isaiah Pacheco as well. So speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to have a gentleman, a radio personality on this Saturday, January 20th, at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, and his name is Alex Gold. He's a radio personality on 610 AM Sports Radio in Kansas City. So Alex is going to join us, and we're going to talk about the Chiefs and preview the game against the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. And the winner of that game goes to the AFC Championship game as well. So I'm looking forward to speaking with Alex Gold this Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern from 610 AM Sports Radio in Kansas City. And also, guys, I'm going to put this on my ticker now. My next live CDP Sports Talk, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet here in Guelph, and weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM, is going to be Friday, January 19th at 12 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, Ashley Baker. She's a reporter with 1340 Fox Sports Radio in Virginia, and she's also the host of Sports After Dark on Twitter Spaces. And we're going to talk to her about the National Football League games coming up this weekend. You've got Houston at Baltimore, Green Bay at San Francisco on Saturday, and then Sunday you have Tampa Bay at Detroit, in Kansas City and Buffalo. So we're going to talk to Ashley a little bit about her career in radio broadcasting as a reporter, and her Twitter space shows as well. So Ashley Baker at 12 p.m. Eastern this Friday, and then Saturday, Alex Gold from 6:10 a.m. Sports Radio in Kansas City, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to say thank you to my guest today, Dr. Mino Agorwar, an I can't say it, eye doctor from Pickering, Ontario. And I want to say thank you to Courtney Mendenhall as well. I have to work on certain words, and the one with the eye doctor, she's right. Dr. Mino just told me to use eye doctor instead of ophthalmologist. I'm going to work on that, guys, for my next show. I'm going to prove to you I can do that. But I want to say thank you to Dr. Mino Agrawar and Courtney Mendenhall for coming in. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching this live streamed and also on my audio platforms as well. And before you wrap this show up, guys, again, Live with CDP Sports Talk is on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM, weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. And you can also listen to the radio station on WQEEFM.radio12345.com. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram under my name, Chris Palme. So please follow me there on Instagram. I also have a website if you want to check it out: beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. All my digital content and my previous radio and podcast shows are on there, and where you can find me on social media sites as well. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Please check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@barrycullen.com. And speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet, discover the winter event is going on at Barry Cullen Chevrolet right now with a 2024 Silverado 1500 custom crew cab for $139 weekly at 5.9% financing for up to 24 months. And on an ultra low kilometer lease, you can do it with $3,749 down. More details at barrycullen.com. You can also follow yours truly on TikTok at Live with CDP. You'll see all my media work and my promos for my guests and radio shows on TikTok, again at Live with CDP. And please hit the follow notification as well. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports Talk. I've been a proud customer of StreamYard.com for the last 3 years. If you're into webinars or podcasting such as myself, check out StreamYard.com. And StreamYard for individuals, free basic plan is $0. A basic one is $25 per month US, and a professional plan, which I have, is only $49 per month US. And as for businesses, you can get a business plan with StreamYard.com, a premier one for $99, a custom-made one for $299, and for business control, for the business ones, you can get you'll have to contact the contact sales at StreamYard as well. So if you're an individual using StreamYard or a business, please check out StreamYard.com. Their website, all their information is there. To me, great customer service, and they are one of the best live streaming outlets out there in the world. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, the audio version is on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, and Tuned In. And finally, you can email or text Live with CDP Sports Talk at cpalme19@gmail.com, or text the show at 519-820-7188. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, greatly appreciated. And again, I want to say thank you to Courtney Mendenhall for coming on here today. And thank you again to Dr. Minal Agwar eye doctor, for coming on earlier today as well. And I hope everybody has a great evening. And we'll see you back here on Live with CDP Sports Talk Friday at 12 o'clock with Ashley Baker from 1340 AM Fox Sports Radio in Virginia. And then Saturday at 12:30 with Alex Gold from 610 AM Sports Radio in Kansas City as well. So that's about it. Thank you all for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet, and weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM. Good night, everybody.